Hi, my name's Jess. Having taken on the task of taking part in a creative project for the module, I wanted to direct my venture towards something that was both interesting, useful, and individual to me. In a 2019 study by Ofcom, it shows that 49% of adults claim to consume news via social media. 28% of these adults say it's through the platform Instagram. I myself use Instagram daily. As well as a way of keeping up with current affairs, it is a stage dedicated to communication, something that since the outbreak of the coronavirus in recent times has been of great importance. Both social media and news are consumed across the board, regardless of difference in age, gender, race, etc. Which is why when I decided to participate in an individual creative project, it made sense to combine the two. I had the intention of creating an Instagram account that was dedicated to all news relevant to today's world without mention of the COVID-19 pandemic, as it has already taken over the majority of news released. I felt that it is easy to hear about the virus, but all other news has gradually been given less of a platform. Understandably, there is a reason behind this. However, the importance of other news is not lessened, despite the coverage of it insinuating that. I wanted my account to reflect this, and after careful consideration, I decided on the title _in_other_news_. My role was an online news curator. My responsibilities were to repost news topics from all over the internet onto one platform, assuring that I give full credibility to the original news source. An article from Medium.com written by Robin Good wrote, "News curation is the art of finding, distilling, adding value, preserving and sharing the most relevant stories on a specific topic or issue for a specific audience." He said this in 2016. With the help from this definition, it was easy to understand my responsibilities within the role. These included to research news stories from varied news sources, to find out what people would like to hear about, and to acknowledge the initial news source and be able to efficiently link their post to mine. Details such as the imagery and hashtags I would use also came into fruition when realizing that I would need to create a successful Instagram page. By using Kolb's reflective cycle from 1984, I had been able to expose my thinking on concrete experiences, my observation, my development of ideas and abstract conceptualization, plus implementing ideas. One of my contributions was the audience research. When creating the Instagram page, both during the research part leading up to the creation and the active part of production, I was mindful with who I was catering my post to. Knowing that my platform would be reached by majority of the young audience, I followed existing news pages that had attracted the same audiences between the ages of 16 and 25. These were such as at The Dodo, at Channel 4 and at Pink News. As well as these, I followed sources such as at BBC and at The Guardian to make sure I was caught in the loop with various informants. Another one of my contribution laid in the product research and hashtags. Along with specific accounts, I set in other news to follow certain hashtags, encouraging me to interact with posts of a similar nature to my own. When turning my attention to the hashtags I was using, it made me realise that the relativity of them and how they could be used as a tool of gaining them the attention of the right groups. I believe that this helped me reach much more people had I not used them. In my project, I found that there was elements of production that could make it more successful. One of these was the use of hashtags. They are used to create visibility for posts, and by the use of relevant hashtags, I found that I could reach higher numbers from my target audiences, as that same audiences would also be interacting with similar posts with the same hashtags. As mentioned before, when I set the account up, I followed a collection of relative hashtags to help connect me to what was appropriate for the page. Obviously, I use this to help inform my own use for the purpose of my post, but I catered each post's selection of hashtags for each individual news story. Some examples of this were hashtag express, hashtag news, hashtag news feed, hashtag daily, hashtag Brexit, hashtag trade, and hashtag world news. These are in relation to a Brexit proposal made by Michael Bernier, a story that was originally published by The Express. Using common hashtags such as hashtag news, hashtag newsfeed, and hashtag daily creates more engagement between my article post and the Explore page. But by choosing these recurring hashtags as well as the more specific ones, I was able to address a large audience. something that was helpful in making a bigger impact with my production. Another contribution of mine was the market research. By definition, market research is the process of gathering, interpreting information about a market or service to be offered. When understanding this, I knew that I needed to understand the market first in order to communicate with consumers of the project to find out what they wanted to read about, what areas of news did they think was most important, and what they missed hearing about prior to the pandemic. Whilst thinking of this, I direct messaged or DM'd a few people that had already followed my account after the first post, asking, "Are there any topics of news that you wish to see more of?" Of which I received responses such as the government issues in China, what happened with Brexit, and updates on when food chains are opening. Having asked people what they would like to hear about and receiving varied responses, I interpreted information and found it was extremely helpful for me to direct my project in order to officially cater to those that already showed an interest in it. Another one of my contributions was the first post. As much as the main contents and the hashtags were important to the curation of my project, I believe that letting my followers and viewers know for sure what the account was also pretty relevant. You can see here my first post. By using relevant pictures that indicated the basis of the page was to be focused on news, I went on to address the reason behind the page and what I intended on covering. It read, "Today's news is filled with everything COVID-19 related, but what about anything else? It's easy to let the overwhelming quantity of news on coronavirus get you down, but here's a platform that could let you keep up to date with news from around the world, news that's not spoken about as much anymore." The importance of this post lies within the significance of letting people know what to expect from the page, and if they would like to interact with it. When posting this, I received interactions of 30+ people, as shown by Instagram's business settings statistics. From this, I attained followers and independent messages that helped me direct the following posts. Reflecting on this stage, I feel that I potentially could have used more hashtags to expand the audiences, or use more creative pictures as the thumbnail as a method of grabbing consumers' attention better. This is a critique that I carry with the entirety of my project. If I was to extend the project, I would endeavour to create the visuals for the post myself, as opposed to using and crediting the original sourced pictures from the articles. The overall process of my creative project allowed me to exercise a multitude of skills, some of which I'd been able to explore before, like the communications part of it, and some that were completely new to me, such as project management. I was able to enhance my communication skills with members of the public, practicing with online interactions with followers in other news. I worked towards gaining independence in task management, whilst being able to adjust to change the job roles. With going into quarantine, I wasn't able to go through with my original position in a placement. However, being flexible and on the ball with thinking of what I can do instead to make the most of the module, I shifted my intentions to something I could do independently and creatively. More reflectively, I have been able to improve my evaluation on personal, professional and vocational development, seeing that I've prepared myself to adapt when difficulties occur in a work environment. I practiced my research skills as I found that it was at times very challenging to find articles and news stories that were positive or not related to coronavirus at all. When capitalising on the information that I had gathered from market research development, I found it to be considerably easier. My technical skills with social media have become more efficient too. Rather than using it as a consumer, I was able to use it for production and content creation, a skill that I found would be transferable into a media-based career. I'd never before been put in a position where I was reliant on my problem-solving skills alone. And whilst I initially did have some challenges with adjusting to the dynamics of working independently to create digital context, it was useful in gaining this skill. Ultimately, I don't feel the need to continue working with this project. Although I have enjoyed my time doing it, I feel that my interests would be in other artistic content creations. I realised this when reflecting on where and how I could have improved my page, which is on the visual sides of the productions to the post.